From the Frederick Keys to the Flying Cows, from college courts to Friday night lights, and from the big leagues of local sports to the little leagues where it all begins. This is Frederick Sports, hosted by longtime broadcaster and sports executive John Hunt, bringing over 40 years of play-by-play, insight, and local sports experience to the mic. Frederick Sports starts now.
You've made it to the middle of the 4th of July week. And from what I understand, I thought the holiday was going to be on Monday, but I'm being told that the holiday is actually on Friday. So for some people, it's actually a shorter week than we expected. Welcome to Frederick Sports here at the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network, broadcasting live from Studio 401. And of course, you can watch all the previous episodes, including this one, anytime you like on YouTube. Again, go to the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network. You'll find it. You'll also find John's House and Good Morning Frederick and the other, what do we have? 13 additional, other than the ones I just named, podcasts now on the network. It's growing like crazy. If you would like to be part of it, it's pretty easy. You can hit me up directly at rockthewave13@gmail.com and I'll get you in contact with the right people. And you could have your own podcast, or maybe you could join one of ours. Maybe if you're a sports coach, or you have little leagues coming up this summer and you haven't got your signups done, or you just want to come up and talk about what's going on in your league, we'd love to have you on the show. Like we said, everything from the Frederick Keys to little leagues. And even we've had some wrestling here. We've had girls flag football coaches from Oakdale High School here. It's, big variety of sports. And we even have World Cup soccer, which we've been talking about the last couple of days. So all of it right here on Frederick Sports. Let's jump into, we got a special guest coming up, but let's jump right in to the Orioles and Nationals. Both played this afternoon. One of them still playing, and both looking good today for once. The Orioles got a 6-1 victory. Polar Bear with a dinger. Dean Kramer comes off the injured list, pitches 6 strong innings, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts, and 1 run given up. So the Orioles get a victory. They're 8 games under 500 right now. The Nationals are looking great. A 10-0 lead as I just looked down at the phone, which is giving me updates. And 2 outs in the top of the 8th. So the Nationals are still up, and they have a 10-0 lead, looking really good in Fenway Park up in Boston. So I've got a special guest here. We're going to talk Keys and Aberdeen and the Bay Sox, everybody else around the region. After we talk to our special guest, Bryan is here from the Frederick Card Collective. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me. This was a greatly expected comment in my TikTok video to be invited on. So
yeah, well, and that's what I was going to say. How we got a chance to meet is kind of strange. I saw you doing videos, social media videos, and I'm like, this fits what we're doing here at John Sports. And a lot of people have questions all the time about collecting cards. But before we get into that, you're on a journey to build a business in downtown Frederick. So tell us where you came up with the idea to put that journey on social media for everyone to see.
Yeah. So, I won't say that I was always a Frederick native, but, I grew up here and, can remember attending Keys games as a little kid when there was a punch ticket. You didn't have assigned seats or anything. Right. So, now I've been back here for going on 8 years, and I have 2 daughters, they're 10 and 7, and we all got into collecting cards. And you know what? It was something really fun and enjoyable to do with as a family. And obviously, as a kid collecting baseball cards, you kind of get back into it. And I was like, you know what? There's shops around, but what's really missing is a card shop right in the heart of downtown Frederick. So I thought this, I had the opportunity to do it. I was like, you know what? This is just something we got to do. And yeah, like you said, lots of excitement surrounding it. It had to be downtown, and I lucked out on the unit block of North Market Street.
I saw when those two locations came open, and I was thinking at the time about opening a music store. Not just records. There's two cool record stores in downtown, and both have cool owners. I know both of them. And we're going to have at least one of them on the show here in a couple of weeks after he gets back from vacation. But so I looked at one of the locations when it first popped up, and I'm like, all right, one good thing, one less vape shop, because we have enough of those around the Frederick area.
I've heard a lot of, the vape store's gone. Like, keep walking, you'll find one.
No worries there. But again, you're right there near Tsunami and Curious Iguana and Kachik. And I mean, there's a lot of cool places you're right in the middle of it all, which is very cool.
Yeah, we like I said, we really lucked out. We were looking at another location downtown, and it was going to be a little bit more than we wanted to bite off. And it was first Saturday, so we were like, we'll park, we'll walk around. And we walked by, and there was a giant for rent sign in the window. And I snapped a picture of it, and I was like, let me call these guys on Monday. And they are super excited to have a card shop, and they thought it'd be a perfect fit. So I think it was just meant to be honest.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. And you know what? I have a picture of that same sign in my phone, believe it or not. Because like I said, when I first saw it,
people do.
I thought about that would be the place for the record store. But then I found these guys, and one thing led to another, and doing 2 podcasts a day. So before we get to the cards themselves and that part of it, do you have an estimated date on when you think you might be able to open?
So that's kind of been the big question in the comments, and obviously, people talking to them is like, when are you going to open? We're excited for you to open. If you guys have been following along on the TikTok videos, they're also on Instagram and Facebook. Guys just started painting the ceiling today, so they're going to finish up some painting. Then we got to do floors and some plumbing and that sort of stuff. So as far as like demolition and renovation, should be maybe a couple more weeks. Really shooting for the 1st of August as a softer, an official open date. So, obviously once construction's done, then there's, we got to put the shelving up, and we got to fill the shelving with product and all of that. So, there's still work to be done. But there's been a lot of progress over the last week or so, and I expect even more, through the next week to 10 days.
So the other part of it is always dealing with the city and licensing and proper permits. Do you still have to go through all of that stuff? You have to wait till you're finished with all the painting and stuff, right?
Yeah. There's permitting for the sign that hangs out front, and there's occupancy permits, and all of those are different offices. So, there's some navigating that. Been working closely with the Downtown Frederick Partnership. They are a vast resource of knowledge. So they've been able to help me out a lot with those, or who do I need to talk to, or who do I need to email to get things moving. And they're always around. They're so great. They invited us to walk in the parade last weekend. I mean, they couldn't ask for better people to be an organization to help out downtown business owners.
All right. And let's get into card collecting as a whole. Now, back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, we would collect baseball cards, and it really wasn't much football or hockey or anything else at that time. It was pretty much all wrapped around baseball cards, and the object, yes, you wanted to get your favorite players, and maybe you wanted to eat the gum, maybe not.
I've packed gum. Yeah.
I've seen, and I know I just turned my head from the camera, but I have seen videos, of guys who've collected really, really old cards that still have the gum in them from the 70s and 80s, and they open them up and eat the gum.
Yeah, that lasts about 10 seconds.
That's got to be nasty.
It's usually stuck to the one card still. Yeah.
Oh, do they still put gum in the cards? I'm guessing
no,
not.
They stopped doing that. I think the card manufacturers realized that there was value to the card more so than the gum.
It was ruining the card.
Yeah. At least the one in the back. Yeah, for sure.
Right on. And, back in the days, it was like, okay, I got to get a Cal Ripken card. I got to get a Ken Griffey card. You got to get them in their rookie years. I got to get a Maddox and a Smoltz. You're an Atlanta guy, Glavin, Maddox, Smoltz, all those guys back in the day. But now it's a little different. First off, kids don't put them in the spokes of their If they do, their parents are going to whip their tails because it costs, a little bit more than it was back in the day to buy cards.
A little more expensive now. Yeah.
And worth more as well. So what would you say is the biggest difference between kind of then and now?
So, my dad's told me stories of they would play flipsies with the cards and, flip them up against the wall and try to win them and, get confiscated at school, which I'm sure the confiscation part's still happening.
Well, that's more Pokemon cards now.
Yeah, but I think back then we'll show some examples. I brought some stuff from the personal collection. But back then it was, like you said, it was about like, oh, I want to get my favorite players, or I'm an O's guy, so I want to get all of the Orioles players. It wasn't really so much about necessarily is one worth more than the other. It was just about the experience of collecting them in a totality. Like, I want to get all of the cards in the set. And a lot of people, you see it on Facebook Marketplace or at card shows where people are like, hey, here's the whole set from 1975.
Right.
They're in number, they're in a box, everything's organized. Here's every single one of them. I think the difference now is that there are differences. There are special cards. There are things that are more desirably collectible, even in, just trying to collect your favorite team or your favorite player. I have cards at home where it's called collecting the rainbow. I have one card, but have 20 of the 30 different variations of that same card. It's the same image. It's just different colors, different finishes, different serialized numbers, just something that makes it more collectible. Than the old cards where it was like, all right, you had a rookie card. Maybe it had a top stamp on it. Maybe it didn't. And that was about it.
Okay.
The other in the sports cards realm, obviously, now a lot of people like to send cards out to get graded. So, whether that's using PSA or TAG or CGC, Beckett, whatever, there's a whole bunch of organizations out there that you send your card to and you have it graded. That can also exponentially increase the resale value. For some people that is important. They like to kind of flip the cards and try to trade up to better cards to get the card that they like for, their driver, their team, Pokemon, whatever the trading card collection is. And then there's some people, I tend to be more in this category where I have cards that I send them off to get graded, but they're going to come and stay at my house and they're never going to leave.
Right.
So, special cards like my oldest daughter and I opened up F1 and the first autograph card we ever pulled, I sent it off to get graded. That's going to stay at our house. I have one of the cards over here on the table that we'll show in a second. We opened out of a pack. It's a 101. It's the only card, there's other cards that look like it, but that's the only one in that finish. It's serialized a 1. It's you don't pull that many 101s in a lifetime unless you're opening a ton of product. So again, that one didn't go off to get graded, but again, it's going to stay at our house. So there's a lot of differences now. The same thing for sports applies to Pokemon, to Magic the Gathering, to Lorcana, Flesh and Blood. I mean, there's so many, like,
right.
Squishmallow has trading cards. So
what's Squish? I'm sorry, I'm old. What's Squishmallow?
So they're these giant stuffed animals that the kids, they have their own cards. My Little Pony has their own trading card. I mean,
wow.
If you can think of it, they probably, SpongeBob SquarePants has.
Well, back in the day,
I actually have a trading card with Pope Leo on it that is made by Topps. We put him on top of all of the boxes.
Is he wearing like a Chicago hat? Is that what?
No, he's the day he got like into office, but we put him on top of all the boxes of cards before we open them to bring good luck. So.
I like that idea, though.
You got to bless the card, to get the good ones out of the box. So
Dominus Homus, play ball. That's awesome. Now, again, we talk about the difference in the cards, but first off, happy birthday, Sean O'Neill. Having his birthday today. He's a humongous collector. I think he does some stuff on the side from his house, but he likes to go to Keys games and to minor league games and get guys' autographs on cards before they're famous, before they're in Major League Baseball. And I know that's got to help the value, especially if the guy hits.
So, that's kind of one of the big debates in trading cards is, does the on-card auto actually increase the value? It used to be, like said back before in the olden times, I guess, what's called vintage now, that, getting that on-card auto at the baseball game would increase the value because what's the likelihood that Cal Ripken's going to come over and sign your card?
Yeah.
You know,
well, actually, Cal, I got to say, Cal would be a bad example because Cal signed everything. The value of a Cal Ripken signed card is probably through the floor. But
well, I'm saying if you could get
players,
you could get to where he was signing cards, I mean, it was the same way in Atlanta. Like I got all sorts of autographs, but you had to be at the event. You had to be right there. You know, if you're just in the stadium, what's the likelihood that he's coming up to you and you just happen to have the card? You know, some of these cards now they are already special for, like I said, the serialized numbers or the color variations. So some would argue that having the player or the whoever sign on the card actually might devalue it. But again, that's the difference in, are you having this card signed because it's your favorite player, your favorite driver, your favorite whoever, and you're going to keep it, or are you just trying to to hold on to that card to flip it to sell it for something else?
Right.
So I mean, I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I think on card autos are kind of cool. They're kind of unique, but like I said, that's kind of one of the debates in the community of, you want to keep it pure or do you want to get something that looks cool?
Right. So if you have your one of one, if you had the opportunity, would you get it signed for yourself? Because you said that one's going to stay with you. You're probably not going to sell it, right? Your F1 Formula One.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the internal battle, right? Because it's like, and we'll show it in a second. It's shiny and it's it's gold and it looks nice, and it's like, I also have autograph cards from him, but they came from Topps and they're on a sticker that they put on the card. So yeah, that one, the 101, I probably would just keep it as is. But
okay, and I know there's so many different types of sports cards with the World Cup. That's a big thing right now. Are there special World Cup cards or special soccer cards out now? I haven't seen any.
So there's FIFA's done and Panini's done a great job. There's like a whole sticker collection.
I've seen them in the Coca-Colas.
Yeah. The other thing, so my oldest daughter and I are actually getting ready to go to New York in a couple of weeks for Fanatics Fest, which is a huge sports convention.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. And yeah. I don't think I realized that the World Cup was also going to be in New York at the same time.
Also
and
correct.
I'm glad I made hotel reservations like 6 months ago. But sidebar, at that event, Topps is producing a Fanatics Fest New York special both FIFA soccer card and a MLB baseball card.
Okay.
So those you have to apply to get into the EQL, and then if you get selected, then you have to pay for the boxes up front, and then you have to go to a particular booth at the event to pick up your cards. So, but those will be stamped differently. Those, I've seen videos of other guys that have gone, you can buy the box for $300 and instantly go to the trade floor and just trade it for $650. I mean, the print run is so limited that the value on those it just doubles as soon as you have them in your hands. It's kind of crazy, but they're also super, super cool.
Yeah, I was the general manager of a minor league baseball team, or an unaffiliated team, I should say. Indie League in New Jersey, about 10 miles from the American Dream and all that stuff that's up there just outside New York City. And a bunch of my friends, we had a game and I had to do my job, but they all went to Fanatics Fest. And, the cost was amazing. So I looked this year. I thought, well, maybe I'll find a way to go this year. And all the players I would want an autograph or a photo with, it's like $300 just to get in the line and get a picture. And then if you want an autograph, it's another $300. And then I saw Joe Montana, for example. If he writes the words, "I left my heart in San Francisco" on your autograph, it's another $900.
Yeah, I looked it through a couple of players the other day because, my friends were like, "Oh, this, so-and-so is going to be there." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like Ovechkin or, some other pretty famous hockey players were going to be there." Henrik Lundqvist, I was like, "Oh, I have a card from him. Like I could get him to sign that." And then it was like $400. I was like, maybe next time. And,
the picture is usually a couple of dollars less than the autograph. But,
for a JPEG emailed to you, not even.
That's right. You don't even get to take it on your own phone.
Right.
You have to wait for them to send you the email of your photo. Who knows how it's going to turn out? Hopefully it's good.
Don't blink.
Yeah, because for $300, some of them were like, I think the cheapest I saw were like $95 for anybody that I would even think about.
I think there was a few
with.
that were doing free sessions.
Oh yeah,
but Jordan Childs, I think, U.S. gymnast, I think she was, but I'm sure her line's still going to be, super long.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be there for a day. I'm trying to maximize, area that we cover.
Did you do the Sunday special?
No.
I know they had the Sunday special on there. That's what I was thinking about.
No, we opted for a Saturday ticket.
Biggest amount of athletes and famous people are going to be there on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy this year. I think it's first time they've pushed it to 4 days. So
yeah, and again, it's going to be so massively packed with World Cup going on right across the river or right across the street almost at the same time, and it'll be near the finals too. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
just
Manhattan's not that big. Everything's going to be packed in.
Now, where did you get your hotel? I got to ask.
We ended up the Warwick Hotel.
Are you in the city or are you in Jersey?
No, we're in the city. I tried to find something walking distance.
Right.
We're taking the bus up. I didn't want to have to try to park or drive around New York. Sounds like a nightmare. So
plan ahead, by the way, because FIFA has upped all the fees on the train getting across the river. So, that's right. It's at MSG, right?
It's at Javits Center.
Oh, Javits Center. Okay. So it's in the city. So you're good. Never mind. I was going to say they're now charging $150 if you want to ride the train across to go to a World Cup game. You can't park there. There's no VIP parking.
That makes sense.
It's insane with the costs that are going on up there right now.
Be a lot of people.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get to the cards that you brought, and maybe you can give a little description. I think Doug is going to come over here and help kind of put some of the cards up closer to the camera.
Doug didn't know he was going to be a hand model today.
Well, he did. He's the one who offered it to us. So I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but he was going to come over here. Yeah, he's directing while he's producing at the same time. So maybe you can describe some of the cards that are on the screen.
Yeah. So, we were talking about serialized cards. So the one he's got there is a Lando Norris card from Topps Chrome 2024. It's called a Mini Diamonds. And if you look, Doug, on the corner of the card there, you'll see that there's a serialized number kind of in that upper left hand. Yep, right there. So it's, I think Mini Diamonds is out of 250. 206 out of 299. So, kind of in comparison, there's a base card to that, but there's only 298 other ones. Oh, right. So, and you can see that the one next to it is the same image. It's out of Topps Sapphire, which is actually kind of a tier up from Chrome. And that one's a red sapphire, and that one's only 2 out of 5.
Wow.
So there's only 4 other cards. And I actually looked up, so, sending those off to PSA, if you look at the top there, Doug, you see where it says mint 9.
Yep.
So now they're grading. So 9 is almost perfect. A 10 would be perfect. But you can actually pull up the population report on that, and it'll tell you that 3 of those 5 cards are a 9, and one of them is an 8. The 5th one has not been graded.
So you may or may not only have one card better than the card, better condition.
Right. So currently a mint 9 is the top grade card, and there's 3 of them, and none of them have been sold. So, that's one of those things where it's like, you almost can command the market and like, what do I want to let this card go for if I wanted to let it go? Like I said, that just happens to be one of the cards that I personally collect. So of that image, I have about 20 different, color variations.
Wow.
So that's where, collecting them, they're kind of already special as they are. If we compare it now, we've got, a Topps baseball card of Andrew Jones from
Atlanta Braves.
From the Atlanta Braves. Yep. From, I think that set's like 92. Where you can see the top stamp up there in the corner, was kind of the only differentiator, because if you look at the Mike Messina card from the Orioles,
that's right under it.
Right under it, there's no top stamp. So, the Mike Messina card, I just looked him up, last night. That card's $1. It's worth, $1.
Okay.
The Andrew Jones is worth about $3.
Wow.
So, in comparison, the stamp was the important thing that you were looking for, so if you were set collecting, you might just say, all right, well, I'll take the one without the stamp, and I'm going to collect every card in that set. Some people might take it a next step further and they say, well, I'm going to collect all the ones with the stamp on it.
Okay. And before we move on to the other styles of cards, if you're buying baseball or football cards, would you go out and buy whole boxes anymore, or do you buy the individual packs What's better if you're a collector?
So, most of the times you will find it in, the whole box. Some stores, and myself included, like we plan to have individual packs because not every, the price, like you said earlier, the price of cards has gone up, pretty significantly since, years ago. So, you might not want to go spend $325 on a hobby box. You're like, well, I just, I'm at the, stop by Walmart or whatever. I'm at lunch or stop by my store. You're walking downtown. You're like, I just want to rip a pack. All right. Well, $3, $4, $5, $9 or something like, you get a pretty decent number of cards. So, I mean, there's kind of there's a set for everybody. You have single packs, you have hanger packs, you have hobby boxes. There's all sorts of different, box setups that the card manufacturers make depending on number of packs in the box, number of cards per the pack. So, you can kind of get in wherever you want, whatever's comfortable for you, whatever you can afford. There's a spot for everybody in the hobby. And that's one of the things that I really love about the trading card hobby is there's a card for somebody, there's a collectible for somebody, and there's a price point for everybody.
Okay. And back when I was a kid, you get the individual packs or those 3 packs where you could see the top card and the bottom card. In the plastic wrappers, I would rip the thing open, throw the gum, and then need it, got it, got it, to finish my set. And that was kind of the fun of collecting for me back in those days. Again, it's a lot more serious for people now. Are people making money as individuals? Now, I'm not talking about as a store.
Absolutely.
I mean, the serious collectors they're treating this like, stocks, right?
Yeah, so I think that's the other, the thing, and I usually refer to Pokemon when I make this comment is, Pokemon's been around 30 years now. I'm 41, so I was of, my brother, we were of that age when Pokemon came out. So now we are older, but now we have adult money.
Right.
And, my mom can't tell me.
Until you buy too many cards, right. And then your wife
mom
says,
can't tell me, you can't have, any more cards. And, but yeah, I mean, I think, my generation and a lot of other people, like, you've grown up, hey, you need a 401k, you need stocks and trades and bonds and, portfolio diversification. Well, the trading card hobby is just another diversification of the portfolio, because if you want to scan into the Pokemon card over there, Doug.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Go to next. Yeah, there you go.
So we opened, as a family, we opened a box of ETB of Pokemon cards. My wife, who knows a little bit about Pokemon, just opened this and she goes, "Oh, look, this one's pretty," and turns it around to the table. And myself and my 2 daughters are like, "Oh, let me have it, because we instantly realized that card, just as it was worth about $200.
Oh, wow.
So it instantly went in the penny sleeve, went in the top loader, got set on my desk. It was like in max security until we sent it off to PSA to get graded, and it came back a Gem Mint 10. So that's the best possible score. So that card went from a value of about $200 to now it sits at just about $615. At the time that I sent it off, it was up to $730. So yeah, to get back to your question, people are making money at doing this. You pull the good cards, you send them off, you get good grades, they instantly turn around and sell them because cards are sold at the market value, where they sit. So, that's the other good thing about it too, is cards, they fluctuate. So it's liquid. And they're easy to buy, sell, trade. So if you need a little bit of money, or you're like, hey, I really want this, Kobe card, I really want this Jordan. All you got to do is go to a card show, and there's a card show like every weekend, if not more than one a weekend. And you just walk around, you can find what you like. And most people will do trades. You'll get, credit, and you guys work a deal, and the vendor gets what they want, you get what you want, and everybody goes away happy, and everybody has a great experience.
So just to let our listeners know, and I don't even know the answer to this one. So that particular Pokemon card, which you said when you opened it, you realized it was worth at least $200. What is the pack cost that you bought it in?
So the entire box.
So you got a bigger box.
Yeah. Well, it was like the Elite Trainer box. So that whole box was about $70.
So again, instant win. But if you bought a pack of Pokemon cards, 10 cards in it or whatever are in cards now, what would something like that run you in? how much profit. That would be a huge amount of profit.
So again, it depends on the product. My daughter, I bought her a $30 Pokemon 151 pack at a card show because she worked the entire show and was amazing. I was like, you definitely earned this.
Yes.
She opens one pack and pulled a Venusaur that's worth $135.
Wow. Okay.
So, part of it is luck. I don't know. My daughter has hot hands, so
You didn't put the priest on the top of that one.
didn't even have time to get the Pope out, but I didn't need to because she was there and she always pulls the heat. So
right.
I got skunked. I didn't get anything good in my pack, but she was instantly up. So sometimes it's just opening the right one
at the right time.
At the right time.
We have one more in the list for you to talk about.
Yeah. So that's the 101 that we were talking about earlier. So that is the only, like I said, there's other cards again with that same image, but with the gold discs, that's the only one. So, as a collector, currently he's a F2 driver, so he's not, in F1, he's not in the big race classification, but the hope would be there that yes, he goes on to F1 and, becomes a superstar and, all of that. And then that card would appreciate even more. But at the end of the day, I mean, you don't pull a 101 very often. So like I said, unless you were just absolutely opening a ton of product. So that one's going to hang out at the house. But, as you can see on the screen there, the gold discs make it very noticeable when you're, sorting through the cards and you see the gold discs pop out. It's gets you pretty excited.
Well, that would be like, and you're a Braves fan and of this era, that would be like getting a Chipper Jones card when he was in the minor leagues,
right?
Before he went to the Braves and then became a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and there's a whole nother subsect of the collector hobby that is people like to prospect. So the guys that were on your team back in the in the day, they're like, oh, okay, well this guy's going to be somebody. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to get his cards, and then you hope that one day he is Chipper Jones or he is Ken Griffey Jr. Barry Bond. Turns into that Golden Glove winner, whatever, top tier athlete in whatever sport they play.
All right. Sidebar. I was actually the DJ in Stone Mountain, Georgia for Chipper Jones's first wedding, but that's another story for another day because he did have a second wedding. And then again, another story. So before we wrap things up, man, first, I appreciate you coming by.
No, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit more about the where, who, what, where, when of your shop and where they can get more information online.
So the physical store location is 16 North Market Street in downtown. Like you said, we're right between Curious Iguana and Tsunami. Everybody seems to know where Curious Iguana is, so I always use that as a landmark. Online, we are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We will have the website up soon. So there is an actual website. But yeah, we would love to really, we want to be the store where you just want to come in and check out what we have. Most of the sales are going to be in store. We like conversing with the public and, other Frederick and, people that live here and the visitors. So yeah, we just really love for you guys to come by the store, support us, support all the rest of the downtown businesses. All the business owners down there are just absolutely amazing people. Both in their own right and helping us kind of get set up and welcoming us, to the neighborhood. So, primarily come check us out. But, we're on all the major social media platforms, as we found out since you invited me to this based on a TikTok comment. So the internet is interneting.
Yes, it is. It's working in this case. All right, my friend, I'm going to let you go back to work, do your thing, find some more cards, and we'll look forward to having you back on the show once we get closer to opening day.
Absolutely.
For you. So we've got a lot more sports to cover, including World Cup, the Keys, the Bay Sox, and actually the Keys have something interesting that you're allowed to do that you're not normally allowed to do for the next couple of games. We'll tell you about that after just a couple of spots right here. My name is John Hunt. That was Brian, and you're watching Frederick Sports.
Sponsored by A&S Construction is a local and award-winning woman and minority-owned business located right here in Frederick, servicing Frederick County and surrounding areas. A&S Construction specialize in roofing and siding, windows and gutters, and they can even build you a new patio or deck. Call 301-703-8255 888-2157 or email info@ansconstruction.net. You can get $750 off any roof or siding replacement or $50 off any roof repairs. Just tell Sandra that Danny sent you. Sponsored by Intense Barbecue. Family-owned barbecue food truck and catering company cooking in small batches to ensure that the food is the freshest it can be. Intense Barbecue can cater your events and they do any kind of food. It doesn't have to be barbecue. Find them at sebbq.com and satisfy your meat tooth.
Cosmec Healing handcrafted small batch tinctures and transdermal salves, double third-party tested for quality you can trust. If you've got pain, headaches, or anxiety, our products are here to help you find relief. Patient over profits mindset, 'cause we're patients too. CosmecHealing.com.
Thanks again to Bryan for joining us here on Frederick Sports. And his last name is actually spelled Rathvon. Somehow I had found it incorrectly. So I take blame for that, and not our producer. I had passed that information on incorrectly, and then we didn't have time to change that before the show started. So happy to have Bryan on the show. Frederick Card Collective, we will follow them until they are open and ready to rock and roll, which should be coming hopefully within the next month or so. All right, we already covered Nationals and Orioles. I think there might be an update in the Nationals game. Orioles got a win earlier today. The Keys are going to be at home. They lost to Brooklyn last night, 5-3. Caden Hunter, though, pitched well. He had a shutout in his last outing while they were on the road in Wilmington. 5 innings pitched last night, 0 runs, 6 strikeouts. And, you know, that's pretty nice. The Keys starting pitching is looking really good. And some of the guys that are top prospects are looking good. So I highly recommend you get out there and see, you know, guys like Caden Hunter. You go out and you see Ike Irish before, you know, he's an Orioles. He's the number 1 Oriole prospect. There's a bunch of other guys as well. You should go see them, because someday you're going to be saying, oh, wow, I saw them in Frederick when Frederick changed to single A and right after they won the first half championship. So again, and from what I understand, we've got a long homestand this next 2 weeks, but then there's only 3 more homestands for the remainder of the regular season before we get to the playoffs. So again, highly recommend getting your tail out there to see the Keys. Guaranteed Win Wednesday tonight. It's also WAG Wednesday. They are allowing something that normally minor league, major league teams don't allow. They're allowing you to bring 2 bottles of water. You can't have opened them. They need to be sealed and closed, but you can bring 2 of your own bottles of water into the stadium due to the heat. The Keys are allowing that for this week until the temperatures drop once again. So for tonight's game, for sure, if you're going out. Tomorrow, fireworks start Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. On Saturday, the Keys will play a 1 o'clock game. Tomorrow night, American Bucket Hat. It's a cool looking hat too. I saw it, and you know, as media, I'm not allowed to have one unless somebody is super, super nice to me when I get over to the ballpark here in the next couple of days. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, USA or Keys, USA or Keys. So that's the dilemma tonight. But again, get out there. I know it's hot. Stay hydrated, but go out and see your Frederick Keys while they're in town. And while some of these guys, you know, are still at the single A level before they make their climb to double A up in Bowie or triple A in Norfolk. Let's take a look at the Bay Sox. They lost to the Binghamton Rumble Ponies on the road. Oh, by the way, I can't forget military jersey auction on Thursday night as well. 2 long weather delays last night of 2 hours and 36 minutes for the Bay Sox up in Binghamton, but they did get the game done. Bay Sox unable to get the victory, but the Bay Sox bullpen, they did retire the final 19 hitters of the game. So, you know, the bullpen came on and held things up, but unfortunately they were not able to get the victory. Again, they'll go at it again. 6:07, again, one of those strange start times, but 6:07 is the start time up in Binghamton. Aberdeen is now one game over 500. They won a tiebreaker, which they do at this level of baseball, against the State College Spikes. They were at an 8-8 tie in regulation. Cade Fergus. Oh no, that's for Hagerstown. But Aberdeen again got the victory after an 8-8 tie in regulation, which seems like a lot of the World Cup games that we've seen so far. Hagerstown now 40-21. Again, they won the first half title and are rolling along in the second half. They beat Lancaster by the score of 5-1. Robbie Baker is now 3-1 on the season, and Cade Fergus had a home run in that game. So there's your baseball coverage around the region for each of our teams. And again, it looks like the Red Sox got 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth, but there's 1 out. Now, I don't want to jinx these guys, but they do have a 10-2 lead. But over the last couple of weeks, the bullpen has had issues. Hopefully 10-2 is enough with 1 out in the bottom of the ninth at Fenway Park. We hopefully will have a final on that before we wrap up the show here in the next couple minutes. World Cup action. First off, the games yesterday weren't quite as exciting as day 1 and day 2. Norway and Ivory Coast started it yesterday. Norway with a 2-1 win over Ivory Coast. Holland got the winning goal in the 86th minute for the victory for Norway. That was the only exciting game yesterday. France whipped. I mean, the final score was 3-0, but they made Sweden look really bad yesterday. All the action, at least 80% of the possessions were held by France. Mbappe had 2 goals yesterday and is chasing down Messi for the all-time leader. Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe, those guys in Holland, they're all up there in the leaders of all-time World Cup goals. Mexico beat Ecuador 2-0, and that score wasn't really as close as it looked yesterday either. Now today, a closer game than anybody expected. England beat the Congo 2-1. Harry Kane had 2 second-half goals, late second-half goals for the victory. Harry Kane is the stud of England. It's kind of like Jamie, if you watch Ted Lasso, he would be the Jamie of England. So it is, again, England advancing, a little tougher than they would have thought that it would happen. Belgium against Senegal, 4 o'clock start on that game. I'm not sure if they've, Senegal has a 1-0 lead here and over Belgium. Senegal would be an upset over Belgium, and the winner of that game gets the United States if they should beat Bosnia-Herzegovina. Don't want to jinx it and say that's a win already, because it's not. You still have to play the game on the field, and we've seen that with some upsets already in the World Cup. So Belgium versus Senegal is underway. Senegal up 1-0, and the USA versus Bosnia-Herzegovina. That game is at 8 o'clock tomorrow. 3 o'clock, Spain versus Austria. 7 o'clock, it's Portugal versus Croatia. And Switzerland versus Algeria at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Teams that are out, Germany, Sweden, South Africa, the Netherlands, Japan, Ivory Coast, Ecuador, and now the Congo. There is no more World Cup for any of those teams. It is one and done for them. Teams that have advanced, we already know the 3 matchups now for the next round that will start on the 5th, I believe, of July. On the 5th of July. Paraguay, who had the upset over Germany, will play France. And France was dominant in their game, but Paraguay, their goalie is on fire and their defense is playing very well. Canada versus Morocco, that should be an interesting game. I know the Canadians at home, but Morocco playing over their head so far this series as well. And Brazil versus Norway. Brazil had a tough road to get through the first round, which you wouldn't expect. Brazil is usually dominant, and it'll be interesting to see them against Norway. And then the last game on the 5th is Mexico versus England. Again, England should dominate. However, you play the game on the field and not on paper. So we have a final, by the way. Washington beat Boston by the score of 10-2. So the Nationals got that victory. They held on. The bullpen did their job, even though giving up 2 runs in the 9th inning. Better than giving up 8, right? Which we've seen a couple of times out of those guys. So World Cup action tonight. Keys at home. There's a lot going on. So if you're not a soccer fan, again, you get to take a little hydration with you. You're allowed to have 2 extra bottles of water. They must be sealed, because they don't want you putting vodka in there. It doesn't work like that. You got to have sealed bottles of water only. That's all. You can't take an iced tea in there. You can't take a soda. They sell them. That's how it works. But you can take 2 bottles of water that are sealed, which they don't normally let you do, at a minor league or any affiliated or major league game, for sure. You can take it in a high school game, even though they sell merch there and stuff like that, concessions, but not an affiliated game. So enjoy either the Keys or the United States tonight. Don't forget, Everything Frederick Live, our podcast network, is everywhere. They're everywhere. And broadcasting live at Studio 401. Coming your way this weekend, don't forget the 4th of July, United States' 250th anniversary, the Adult Egg Hunt. It is not a kid's egg hunt. Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network at Baker Park. I'll be there with the Good Morning Frederick crew as they have everything ready to go. It'll be easy to find us. 250 red, white, and blue eggs, 1 egg per person. And inside the eggs, gift cards, T-shirts, Maryland Lottery scratch-offs, merchandise. And 3 of those 250 eggs have $250 cashola in them for the 250th anniversary. All right. So, and only 1 egg per adult. You got to be 18 or older to get an egg at the party. So, and you can't work for the company either. That's another thing they tell me. So you can't be involved with the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network to win. So 250th anniversary, Saturday, July 4th. I know it's going to be hot. Again, stay hydrated, dress appropriately, bring an umbrella if you need to for the heat, and just come on out there and join us for a good time. So a lot going on around the region. Let's all have some fun, right? My name is John Hunt, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. We'll do it again tomorrow morning on John's house, and then tomorrow afternoon, we'll be right here with Frederick Sports. So thanks again for watching the show. I appreciate you and everybody behind the scenes who's making us look good. We have new interns on the spot as well who actually had a hand in producing the show today. So thanks to them as well. I'm going to jump out the door and decide whether we're going to watch the USA or we're going to watch the Keys tonight. Actually, I could watch them both because the Keys are on Masson. Maybe that's an idea. Anyways, congratulations, by the way, to Gus Bus, as he likes to be called, for being able to be on a bigger network on Masson for the next couple of Keys games. So again, Keys, United States against Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's coming your way tonight at 8 o'clock. The Keys starting at 7. Thank you very much for hanging out with me at Studio 401. My name is John Hunt, and you've been watching Frederick Sports.
Thanks for watching Frederick Sports with John Hunt. From the pros to the colleges, the high schools, and the youth leagues that make Frederick Sports special, we're here to tell the stories behind the games, the teams, and the people who make it all happen. Make sure to like, share, and comment, and join us again next time for more Frederick Sports.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network. Your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.